The University of Calgary is, well, it's located in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and they are ranked quite high on both the QS and Maclean lists, which brings them many applicants, especially in the fields of geoscience, engineering, medicine, law, and business. So being Calgarian, of course, I had to apply to the University of Calgary because why wouldn't you? And compared to the University of Alberta, this application does open up some space for you to go express yourself through a couple of essays and through a couple of written prompts. It's not as complex and as in-depth as some of the other universities, such as UBC and Toronto, which have these giant essay portions. University of Calgary, they do a good job at keeping it down to the minimal without making it feel like they're ignoring part of your expression. That does lead up to the one point that you need to focus on for this application, and for me it's a domestic standpoint, right? Because that's the application I'm doing. It might differ for international students or students from other provinces. When they give you your written prompts, they're very general, and it's the same for all the other universities. As soon as you get a prompt, it is very broad and very general, and a lot of students complain because they don't know what direction they're supposed to go into. But that's where they make the mistake. And so the one thing you need to focus on to avoid this mistake, which I'll share with you in a second, is to be as specific as possible in your answers. There is nothing worse in an application than receiving a vague or broad question and responding in a very broad and vague and general way. People complain about this, and their mistake is in feeling that they have to fit a sort of specific mold, and they're lost trying to find what that mold is. So you hear people saying like all the time, like, why can't they ask more specific questions? Why can't they ask more fun or unique questions? And you don't want that. Think about it. They're giving you a giant, enormous space to steer yourself in a direction that's still on topic, but in a way where you can go and talk about something you're interested in. Because that's what they're focused on. They're focused on if you can bring the attention and if you can demonstrate things that you have an interest in. Don't stop focusing about fitting a specific mold, because other people are going to be trying to do that. And as soon as you do that, you're now grouped into this container that is filled with people who have similar applications. And it is very, very likely that this little container are going to get pushed aside in favor of the more unique ones. So that's the one thing you need to focus on, is being as specific as possible in your essay and written responses. This also applies to the other university as well. However, as I said, UBC and Toronto, Waterloo Engineering does have a very specific topic, and so I'll be going into the specifics in those videos instead of here, because for the University of Calgary, what matters most is your responses, your specific responses. Now, marks are still important. Marks are easily, it's half and half. And maybe marks even take more than half of the priority. However, marks are not a flexible thing. Marks you don't really get to express as much as you would like because they are based on your performance and there's no going back with marks. Unlike with the essays, you can give it a couple days of thought. You can add in this and that. You can add in your experiences. You can show your mistakes. With marks, you have no room for mistakes. It's competitive. Like the University of Calgary, it's ranked pretty high. And so it gets competitive really fast, especially if you're going to something like the Schulich School of Engineering, which I was accepted into. So again, keep your scores high above the competitive average. I've talked about this in the previous video, so you can go look at that as well. But it has to be a decent chunk higher than the competitive average, at least 5%, if you want to give yourself some breathing room. All right, so again, a quite short video because I do like to keep it as concise as possible and focus on your one single priority for the application. And I hope you guys took some value out of this, and see you next time.